sometimes the most important patterns in our world aren't found in some complex calculation or a grand plan. Instead, they're revealed in a moment of, well, failure, an accident that just shatters the old rules and shows us something totally new. And believe it or not, that's exactly what happened with a single broken flask. So let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in the workshop of a guy named Edward Benedictus, who was this fascinating mix of artist and chemist. Just picture it, shelves overflowing with chemicals, all sorts of tools, and glass flasks everywhere. It's that kind of creative chaos, where experiments and new ideas are just constantly bumping into each other. I mean, it's a pretty simple question, right? We all know the answer. It's almost instinct. You hear that crash from the other room, and you already know exactly what you're going to find on the floor. Exactly. It shatters into a million sharp, dangerous little pieces. It's a predictable pattern, one of the basic rules of physics. Fragile things break. That's just how it works. And this right here is where our story gets interesting. Because one day, in that messy lab, Benedictus accidentally knocked a glass flask off a high shelf. He heard it hit the ground, but the sound, it wasn't right. And what he saw when he looked down, well, it defied everything he thought he knew. So, this was just a simple mistake. The kind of thing that happens all the time in a busy lab. You reach for something, you're a little distracted, and bam, gravity takes over. But the result this time, it was anything but ordinary. Can you just imagine the confusion he must have felt? I mean, he looks down, fully expecting a mess of sharp glass to sweep up. But instead, he sees, well, the ghost of a flask. It's covered in this web of cracks, but it's still holding its shape. The glass itself had failed, sure, but something else, something invisible, had held strong. Okay, so this is the real turning point. A lot of people would have just shrugged, swept it up, and completely forgotten about it. But a prepared mind, well, it doesn't see failure, it sees data. Benedictus didn't just see broken glass. He saw a puzzle that desperately needed an answer. This is the question, isn't it? It goes against everything that's supposed to happen. What invisible force was holding all these broken pieces together, just defying gravity? Turns out, the answer wasn't in the glass at all, but in something that had been left inside. And then it clicked for Benedictus. He remembered that this specific flask hadn't been washed properly. It had once held this stuff, cellulose nitrate. And when the liquid evaporated, it left this super thin, almost invisible film of plastic on the inside. That forgotten gunk, that was the whole secret. And you can literally trace the path of discovery here. It all starts with the accident, the dropped flask. That leads to this really weird observation. It broke, but it didn't fall apart. Then came the connection, when he remembered what used to be inside it. And boom, the final insight. That thin, unseen film was acting like a kind of glue, an invisible skeleton holding the whole thing together. Now, this discovery could have just stayed a quirky little lab story. But Benedictus didn't just solve the mystery of his weirdly broken flask. He immediately saw a much, much bigger pattern. One that could literally save lives. I mean, think about what cars were like back then, at the turn of the 20th century. They were brand new, they were exciting, and they were incredibly dangerous. No seatbelts, no airbags, and the windshield was just a regular pane of glass. So in a crash, that glass would just explode into these razor-sharp daggers, often causing way more damage than the crash itself. Benedictus saw his little accident as the perfect solution. And here's the difference, side by side. On the left, you've got standard glass, which just explodes into a deadly mess. But on the right, you have Benedictus's invention. He patented it as triplex. Instead of shattering, it just cracks, it crazes. The glass breaks, but that inner plastic layer holds all the pieces in place, turning what was a weapon into a shield. So you'd think this would be a total slam dunk, right? An easy sell. But when Benedictus took his life-saving invention to the car manufacturers, they pretty much laughed him out of the room. They said no. Their main focus was on keeping production costs down, and they were worried this expensive safety glass would make cars too pricey for customers. Yeah, the road from invention to mass adoption was a really long one. It's kind of ironic, actually, that it took World War I for the idea to finally catch on. The glass was perfect for the eyepieces and gas masks. It protected soldiers from both gas and shrapnel. After it proved itself on the battlefield, the car industry finally started to pay attention. Pioneers like Henry Ford eventually made it standard. And this all brings us to the bigger picture. This one little accident didn't just create a new product, it actually revealed a whole new pattern for how we think about safety itself. Well, it showed us that safety isn't always about making something stronger or totally unbreakable. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is manage how something fails. It's about designing things to break in a safer way. The flask still broke, right? But it failed gracefully. And that, it turns out, was everything. Just look around you. That pattern is absolutely everywhere now. The windshield in your car, hurricane-proof windows, the security glass at a bank teller, even the screen on your phone. All of these things are direct descendants of that one broken flask in a Paris lab. They're all designed to fail safely, to hold together when they crack, protecting us in ways we don't even think about. You've probably heard this saying before, and it just perfectly sums up this whole story. The accident itself was totally random chance. 1,000 other people could have dropped that same flask and seen nothing more than a mess to clean up. The real breakthrough wasn't the drop. It was Benedictus's ability to see the meaning in it, to decode the pattern hidden in the cracks. And that just leaves you with a really fascinating thought, doesn't it? We spend so much time trying to intentionally design and build our world, but maybe, just maybe, some of our greatest safeguards, these invisible shields that protect us every single day, weren't born from a blueprint at all. Perhaps they were just discovered, waiting to be found in the debris of a lucky mistake.